Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Patrick Perspective. We're your hosts, Sarah
and David.
And today we are in Teams.
Oh, yes.
This is our first technical episode where we're going to talk about either different Microsoft tech tips and tricks or just little things that we've come across that we want to talk about and maybe some issues we ran into.
Issues? What? It all works flawlessly.
Is that technology for you? I don't know about that. I wish.
As my head starts to disappear, depending on how I turn it.
Right, look at this. Ooh. So yeah, the first one that we want to talk about, we started doing a new talk recently about team security. And we talk about a whole bunch of stuff there, but we want to just pinpoint a couple things through some of these episodes.
Yes.
And today we're talking about whether or not you end up in the waiting room, the lobby, when you get into a meeting.
Trouble getting into the meeting, the gripes of, I'm just, especially when you're late.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to get in. It's time. The meeting's starting.
I don't know how many times there's been the classes started and won't check the waiting room.
Oh, let me in. Let me in.
Yeah, so... Right. Why do we end up in the waiting room or not?
So there's a couple of things, right? We'll do a demo. We'll try to demo some of these things in a minute, but let's kind of give the overview. When you log into a Teams meeting, you got to have, the first thing you do is you have an email that identifies yourself, right? So, and we have several. And I think a lot of people do. They don't realize it. You can be anonymous. Right? That's one valid way to go into a meeting where you just don't even log in. If meetings set to allow anonymous people to log in, they can do that. That's usually when it pops up and says, well, you're a guest. What name would you like to be?
Right.
That's your key. Okay, I haven't signed in. I'm just going in anonymously.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will do that, set the meetings up that way to try to make it easy for people just to get in. Hey, you don't have to sign in. They open it up. Usually, the way to make an application easy to use is to remove all security.
Right.
Hey, anyone can come in, which has its issues, right? Where they talk in Zoom, they talk about Zoom bombing.
Yeah, that was a big thing at the beginning.
And if you set up a Teams meeting where you just let anyone in, they don't have to authenticate, then if someone gets that link, they can bomb your meeting.
Yeah. Yep.
So what people do is typically say, well, let's at least let people be authenticated, right?
Right.
And then that means, so that's like if you're setting up a meeting, instead of everyone, it's trusted people in my organization. You have to be authenticated.
There's a couple different levels. There's one, if you're in the same organization, then you're authenticated. So for you, people in your same company, DSA, if you both are in the email of DSA Inc., then you're automatically in. That's a similar idea for my school. If you have a UMD email logging into someone that created it with the UMD account, you're automatically in.
But the interesting thing is, even if you're, like I've had a meeting where I said, all right, Joe and Mary, let's do this meeting. And Mary comes in as a guest because she like did it in private window or she did a different browser. So, but I'm part of your organization. Yeah, but you didn't sign in with your credentials. So that's the thing. You got to sign in. For certain meetings, you might have to sign in using your, in my case, DSA Inc. email. Now, maybe I'm using Teams and I was signed in with my Hotmail account. And I forgot to switch. That might end up in the lobby. And I go, but I know I got in the other day. You got to be careful. Are you in anonymously? Are you in with your Hotmail or personal account? Are you in with your company account? Are you in with some other account, like your school account? So the first step is knowing which account you've authenticated with, or if you authenticated at all.
Yeah.
That's step one.
Right.
Step two is making sure you're in the right tenant.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's been many times where I know I have the right link and I'm waiting, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's because they don't even see me in the lobby.
Right. They're like, there's no one in the lobby. You might be texting them. We've done that before. You're like, hey, I'm in the lobby.
I forgot about that.
And if it's a live meeting versus a Teams meeting, because a Teams meeting is what we're in now, where people can join. There's no lag between a question and us talking. A live meeting is for more than 300 people, like 1,000 people or more, and that one's got a lag from the presenter, from questions being asked. And that one, you'll be as an attendee, you'll be asking a question, and they have no idea that you're a presenter waiting to be presented. They can't even really promote you. You have to be in with the right account that they assign presenter permissions to, and then you have to be in their tenant. So what's a tenant? That's when you sign up for Office 365, it says, hey, what would you like to be called? What is your company name? What is your tenant? And DSA Inc. is DSA Inc. UMD has their own tenant.
We made one for Tech Girls.
Made one for Tech Girls. If I'm in with my personal account, I have no tenant.
Yeah.
I can be a guest in other people's tenants. My Hotmail is a guest in like 20 other tenants. Microsoft tenant, it's my Hotmail account, but it's in Microsoft, it's in Tech Girls, it's in anywhere. Whenever we do a presentation or another, we just did one this morning for Techorama.
Yeah.
And
they had one for that.
There might have been a tenant for that. So that's a step 2. So you have to log in with your right email that represents who you want, who's been given permissions, and then you have to choose the person who gave you those permissions.
Yep.
So, and then sometimes they'll give you, especially if you email them, like if I email someone from my DSA account, they may grant my DSA ID permissions, and if I log in with my Hotmail, even if I choose their tenant, I might just be a guest, not a presenter, or so. Let's demo some of this stuff. Let's see if we can. So, and for example, we're in a meeting now, and let me go ahead and share my desktop so you guys can see what we're talking about there. Help me out there, Sarah. She knows this stuff better than me. So we'll go out there and we're going to share our screen. This is going to be a little inception with metadata where we're sharing what we're displaying there. So this comes up with my Teams application. You can see that we have. I'm in as my Mad SharePoint account, and we're in a current team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the email or the meeting itself. Where did you go? There we are, and grab the meeting info. Right. So there's the meeting info, and we're going to click this to join the meeting. This is the URL. I might send this to someone in an email or text or whatever. Yeah. So over here in this other window, it pops up and says, "Hey, do you want to join?" And just for demo purposes, we're going to join in the browser. Now, I haven't logged in this particular browser. I haven't authenticated to anything. So inside the browser here, it's going to try to log into the meeting. And am I going to get an error? It looks like, okay. So the URL showed an error for a half a second there. But then, so I'm going to go without the audio and the video just to keep things kind of, look at this. So I haven't authenticated. It's asking me, hey, this is the last time I did a test. It's coming up, the real Dave.
Right. It gives you the option to identify who you are because, you're not logging in with a specific account already.
Right. So I'll join, and now it says, well, I don't, I'm right to the lobby,
And I didn't realize it tells you a note like, oh, if you're an organizer and invite, then sign in. They can get that automatic in. Right.
So I don't even read this kind of stuff, but you really should pay attention to those little messages because a lot of times they have important information.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to be logged in. Let's change our hats, switch back over to the meeting. We did get in this case because they're in the right tenant. They weren't given another choice to join any other tenants. It's anonymous. We can actually view the lobby. We could have admitted them. If there was more than one person in the lobby, we would see all the people waiting in the lobby. In this case, we can actually choose to reject them if we don't recognize who they are, or we can allow them, and that will admit them into the meeting. Yeah. So that's the tricky part is, getting the person, once you give them that information, again, we'll go back up to the meeting and go kick out. They kick them out. You're gone. And once you have that information, when they get it, whatever browser they're in, they're more than likely they need to sign in, right? So they need to go into and authenticate. And if they're not prompted to, we could have used that link that you pointed out and that little thing there. If I bring this back up, if I can. So we continue on this browser. There is, I believe. Maybe not. It doesn't even give me a chance. Yeah, it just kind of realized that I'm not authenticated, and just because the meeting was set up to allow everyone in. So if the meeting was set up to not allow just anyone in, then it would tell me you've got to sign in.
So I was going to say there are definitely options in the settings to change whether people are put into the waiting room, not based on what they signed in as. There's ones for trusted organizations. Or just people just in your organization, or I think there's one where everyone goes in the waiting room, no matter what.
No matter what. So there, down, what we saw just 2 seconds ago is there was a little. Why did they hide that in the bottom? Hey, just get into the meeting. No, down here, and then that's where you can see I've got different IDs. So in this case, There's my DSA identification. There's my Mad SharePoint. There's one of my schools, Stevenson, another one of my schools, Towson. Or if none of those, maybe this is where I have to say, well, if I'm a presenter and they granted my Hotmail account, I need to go in and log in using my Hotmail.
Right.
So it is tricky. It's go ahead and stop sharing. It's a tricky situation on how do you deal with when you give someone the meeting info. And the last talk I did, they made a nice 3 or 4 page document and said with pictures, do this, do this, do this. We still had over 50% of the presenters. These are technical folks that did not get it right.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
It's definitely tricky. Make sure you're checking your settings. So
check your settings. Read your error messages, as we just saw. Make sure you're which email you're signing in with. If all else fails, sign out and sign back in.
Yep.
And check which tenant. And let me show the tenant before we wrap this thing up. So back over to, let me share our screen again. Oh, wait, was that the prize patrol?
Oh my gosh. Woo. Quick break before we wrap it up. We started these bi-weekly prizes for Patrick Prize Patrol.
Yes.
And we have you do like a little task or something, and then we'll pick a couple winners for a mystery prize package.
Yes.
It could be T-shirt, water bottle, power bank,
phone thingy.
Right, all that good stuff.
Yes.
So this week, we're going to have you just comment on our video. Tell us about maybe a time you had problems with Team Security, or that maybe some tips and tricks that we didn't mention, or maybe just a question, because we plan to make some more videos about
or
this.
issues you ran into and you're like, I got stuck in the lobby, or I couldn't chat, or I couldn't do this or that. We want to hear what are your issues, and we'll talk about them in future episodes.
Right, yeah, and make sure to leave your Twitter handle or some way for us to
reach
contact
back.
you.
Yeah, because you might be the winner.
Right. So we want to be able to get all your information to send you a prize.
Yes. All right, so let's get to this final thing. What I wanted to show was that if we go to our, let's share the content. Again, we'll go into our sort of inception mode here and back to our screen. If we get into this meeting, and I guess it doesn't matter which one of these I pick, I'm still just going to be a guest. The tenant choice. Where do you choose? And that was part of the problems with the last talk I had, is people didn't know how. So they got into the meeting okay. They were able to log in to Teams, right, which I'm doing now, but the tenant choice. So that's this up here, right? In this case, I started this meeting in Mad SharePoint.
Yep.
So I need to make sure that Mad SharePoint is checked off, which I'm lucky it is. But if I had been already in any of my other tenants, then I'd probably be put in the lobby, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, because I'm in the Mad SharePoint and I'm a guest, I can join and go right into the meeting.
Right.
But if my tenant was wrong, I'd have been put.
Yep. So see, we weren't meeting this time right into it, right? Because we're in the correct organization for a tenant.
So make sure you sign in. Usually, unless you need to be anonymous. So yeah, what are we leaving you with? Make sure you sign in with the right identity, whichever is applicable. Make sure you choose the right tenant, and what else?
Check your settings.
Check your settings.
Overall, I think it's better to be more secure than less.
Yeah, I know you're in a rush. Heck, let everybody in, but when you get burned once, you'll not do that anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully that was informative. Learn from some of our mistakes of being stuck in the lobby, and you can check out your settings and fix all that up. Again, don't forget Patrick Prize Patrol. Leave us a comment with a question, just a comment, and a way to contact you, whether that's a Twitter handle or something else. So thank you so much for watching today's episode, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Bye.